Starting, wait for the...
Hi everyone, this is the PTP Ohio meeting on March 4th, our monthly meeting. So welcome everyone, and this is the PTP Ohio group here. Now, what we're going to do first, sure. The first thing that we do is just go around the room briefly introducing ourselves and one thing about the PTP that happened recently that makes you excited. So my name is Gleb Sikorski. I'm one of the co-founders of the Brochure Pledge. And something that makes me excited is that we are putting together a more consistent leadership team for the Brochure Pledge with people in various roles. It was more kind of ad hoc, now kind of moving to a more structured team of leaders and for taking on point in various projects. So I'm really glad about that. It's kind of an internal structural development that I think is very helpful for the long-term continuation of the Brochure Pledge.
Cool. Okay. I'm Gary Monty, and I'm chair of the business activist group. And a bit of serendipity this week. I went to a business networking meeting. The woman sat next to me is very active in a Rotary group in a local city that the mayor is very insulated and it's next to impossible to get to. It turns out she was excited that I would talk about the Brochure Pledge, and then she started telling me who's attends. She said, "Oh, the mayor always shows up," so this is pure serendipity. Although, like Gary Player says about golf, the more I practice, the luckier I get. So I guess it's packing those on. So I'm really looking forward to that because we're trying to break into Chamber of Commerce and then share the information with those of you that are watching so that maybe you can duplicate it, because small towns are small towns. I don't think they really change that much. So anyway.
I'm excited to be, hi, I'm Linda Stevenson. I'm excited to be the secretary for the meeting. Bear with me as I learn how to do this. I'm just excited to be involved in any way that I can. Thank you for taking up. But I was going to say that if people are just like sharing outside there, it's optional to write down, but like we want to make sure to write down so we can go back to Gary's like comment of what the meeting was, so we can like remember that it happened and keep it going through cracks. The next section will be like, you know what I want to do. And I was asking you the question and then okay, well we'll come back around. Yeah. I'm Agnes Vishnepkin and co-founder of the Brochure Pledge. I'm very excited that we're starting a letter writing campaign. We have custom handmade stationery. You can make your own with Sharpies probably. It's going to be not quite as cute, but you can do it. So I'm also excited about more leadership team kind of coming together, even though I'm like part of it, and it's a lot of work. But I'm very excited to see things happen. I'm an adult. Next.
Duff Dyer, and I'll be honest, I haven't been all that focused on the Brochure Pledge in the last month or so. Just getting my work situation lined up, which seems to be going in the right direction. So I'm glad I heard back on the, well, we'll talk about it later, but I'm glad I got information back from the state. So not all of what we wanted, though, kind of updates.
Thank you.
Well, I'm Robin Freeman, and I really haven't done anything either this month other than that I wrote my first letter.
Oh, very excited about that.
Letters.
Great, thank you. So, agenda overview. So, define the agenda. The next part is review of this activities by participants over the last month and plans for the next month. So the goal is to share accomplishments, support each other, and hold each other accountable and set goals. And so take a minute or two to describe what you did and what you plan to do. A minute or two for each. So
yeah, these are important each person.
Yes, these are important.
Under each person.
So one of the things I was working on is doing the leadership establishment and helping leadership. So we decided, various leaders of the committee, to hold meetings once a month with me personally and once a month with the Pro-Shoot Pledge Central Coordination Committee. So getting the structure of that going, that's one thing. And the other thing that I'm excited about from an external perspective is that we are first U.S. Congress person member with the Pro-Shoot Pledge, Dayton. So that's actually ahead of our, when we anticipated it happened, we didn't anticipate it to have any U.S. Congress person in place until perhaps a candidate who was took the Pro-Shoot Pledge would be elected in November. So this is really ahead of what we were thinking would happen. I'm pretty glad about that, and I worked well on making that happen. So those are things I've been working on. The things that have accomplishments. Things that I'm doing in the near-term future is I'm working on pitching TED with a video about the confirmation bias that would include the Pro-Shoot Pledge. So that's something I'm working on, and of course, doing more in the leadership structure establishment. Also, I wrote a book themed around the Pro-Shoot movement, so just getting a publisher in the next month, something like that. So we're going to be publishing this month.
Who are you contacting about confirmation?
TED. So TED.
Oh, TED.
Yes. TED. They have a special section for educators. And
I didn't know that.
yep. So if they accept that, they will make an animated video with around completion.
Wow. Again, I'm Gary Monty, the business activism community. I contacted everyone that's volunteered to be on the committee. Pluses and minuses. The pluses are two things. Personality-wise, it's a very diverse group, which is good. And professionally, it's a very diverse group, which is good. The downside is only two of us are, I think there's 6 people now. 2 are willing to actively be involved and do something. And one of them, the gentleman from Cleveland, I can't remember, he came up with an approach that I really like. I passed along to Gleb, and since people are watching, I'll pass it along to you. He belongs to one of the professional societies I do, PMI, Project Management Institute, and they have a very strong ethics program. And what he's doing in the Cleveland chapter is he has taken the Pro-Truth Pledge. I believe he's used his book. I'm not positive about that, but he's mapped the elements of the Pro-Truth Pledge into project management's ethics statement. And to maintain your certification, you have to sign a document that says, you know, by God, I will be ethical. So, I mean, there's a degree of seriousness with this. It's quite good. And so what he's doing is he also teaches people that are preparing for the PMP exam, the professional certification, and he's working with the PMI chapter in Cleveland about how I weave the Pro-Truth Pledge in with the ethical portion of teaching people about project management. I'm unable to think of a reason why they refused letting him do that. But for those of you that are watching, if you belong to a professional society, consider approaching your local chapter to do the same thing and see if you have accreditation or certification, there's probably an ethics section. If there's not, I'd be very surprised. So that's one of the ways we can get legs under the Pro-Truth Pledge, by weaving it into established ethical certifications that exist already. I've yet to have my first team meeting because I want to get to know people first. So that's what's next on the agenda, is to try to find, and I'm going to use Google, because we're everywhere from the East Coast to the West Coast, and just those of you that are scheduled know. You got to put a few dates out there, and I can only stay for 15 minutes. And anyway.
Awesome, thank you. I wrote letters and made stationaries, and I have been. And you got talking about the volunteer activity. Yeah,
Thank you for
Robin
leadership.
and I did that. I did research for the people that we're writing letters to and added to the spreadsheet.
I also went to the local library to see if I could find the Yellow Book directory that I was telling Agnes about. It's a directory of corporations, the top corporations in the United States, and it lists CEOs, board members, department heads, has telephone numbers.
What reference is this?
It's called the Yellow Book. The company puts out quarterly books. You can get them from judicial, corporations, you can get a whole list of just different segments of our culture and the important companies, people that are in that. So I went to the local library because I can't find it free on the internet anywhere. And she Googled and she searched the database that she had, and she couldn't find it. And so then just today I went back in and I found one place that has what we're looking for. The one I told you about that was in Dublin. I don't know where to pull that up.
Specific library?
Yeah, something came up in Dublin, Ohio, which I thought was the same thing, but I can't pull it up again. The only thing that I can find is in a library that's like in Connecticut. So we could order the book to have it shipped here to be used. It would cut down having to flip back and forth searching, like if you're searching for Tim Cook. You get basic information when you look for Tim Cook that's on Apple's page. But it doesn't give you his email. If he has one that's for public, you have to then go back into Google and search. Twitter is kind of easy to find even for the head guys because they may not use their Twitter, but they have a Twitter. Some use their Twitter accounts. Facebook, that's easy to find, pretty easy. The emails were what was hard, and that's what I'm finding in there. So I was kind of looking into that, that Yellow Book thing.
Is Yellow Book only online?
They have a website. It's put out by Leadership Publishing Incorporated. So on their website, they said you could order a free page. So I filled that out, and they will contact me. But it said just because you fill it out doesn't mean that you can qualify to get your information. But it has to be like it asks what company I was with.
It's supposed to be mandatory too.
Sorry.
And excellent
Yeah,
story.
so that's what I'm looking
So
for.
we should talk together about it and kind of see.
What I want to
Get us stuff.
consider, if there is a book, see if your library is on interlibrary loan. And because if there is like a place in Connecticut and they have a hard copy, you might be able to get it through
Yeah, that's
an
what-
interlibrary loan.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's talk about it later.
Okay, one of
That's
the
super exciting.
Ron and I are seriously thinking about getting together with you about forming a group in our area.
Excellent.
So we'll set that up.
Excellent.
That is-
Sure, let's definitely talk. We can talk after, or we can set up a time to talk after this meeting, right? That'd be great. Super awesome. Thank you for your leadership.
Yeah, you can shut off the meeting if you're not.
Yeah.
In your future.
Yeah. What did I do? I met with another candidate for Ohio District 12 Congressional District, and she signed down, so I think we're up to 4 candidates for the very seat to be on, who took the Perkins Pledge. We got the letter writing party going. We had a party, we wrote like maybe 6 letters, 7, 8, 9. We're now up to 11 letters. So yeah, each letter takes 45 minutes for an hour to handwrite. And we're making them beautiful to make sure they get opened by CEOs of like Facebook and Apple and Twitter. They're very detailed. So, and I'm working on instructions to help people write these from home, as well as we already have one organizer in Utah who wants to host a party himself. So we can get more of these written. And then my next step is to figure out, have some kind of system to follow up. And I know that Bloodsworks and some of our other projects with some of our virtual assistant /volunteers where they go into like Gleb's email and email him, put, hey, did you get the message? And go into his LinkedIn, hey, did you get a letter from Linda? Did you get a letter from Linda? Facebook them, Twitter them, like once a week. So I need to set that up so I'm not doing that on myself. Except for the phone calls, I'll be talking because these folks are in other countries and I have great English. So that's like the next thing. So I need to get more letters written. Other leadership things, well, with intentional insights, we have our semi-annual board retreat in 2 weeks. We're planning for that. We're going to be doing some strategic planning for the organization and doing fundraising for the big publicity campaign that will be starting March 6th, I believe, first, second week of March. That's still on something, that's it. That's all. Oh, also getting 5,000 of these printed so we can be sending them to people. I've sent on the order of maybe like 20 of these by hand, and it's not good. It's a lot of work, put even the envelopes, hand address them, mail them. So we're gonna just pay a premium for someone else to do these and drop them in the mail to anywhere they want to go. And so we'll be having at least 5,000 ready to go in the mail. Yeah.
Okay, so, biggest order of business is the social, which we need to decide when the next one is. I'm thinking, second week of April, because I'm gonna need 30 days if we're gonna do the, financial side with.
We want to, I think, game night at our house, which was.
Oh, you wanna do that instead?
Yeah, there's.
Sure, then we don't have to go that far out if you don't want to. So what are you thinking?
So we're gonna go the weeknight, weekend afternoon,
Hmm?
or like what?
We were talking about a week night. Tuesdays or Wednesdays?
Previously, we've done Tuesdays. Either works for me then.
Yeah, and Gleb is probably.
You wanna do something at the end of March?
That's
Early.
19th. What about Tuesday, April 3rd? Does anyone have any conflicts? That will be,
Nope.
it will be,
Time.
yeah, so it will be just after our April monthly meeting, so that will be good.
Maybe like 2 days after the meeting. Then.
Well, it might be good to do it right before for people, to get people who are interested in coming.
On Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday before. What about Wednesday, 28th? Does anybody have any conflicts in that day?
I'm not that one anymore, so.
That's I'm presentation.
I've got it at 5.
Wednesday,
28, Wednesday, 20. Either one of those is fine.
And it's been moved the event that we currently have on 26th.
Yeah, sure, you can move it.
Okay, so the 26th at 6 p.m. Does that work for everyone? Monday the 26th.
That's the social.
And we're doing that here? Okay. So if we're doing it at somebody's house, generally speaking, my advice is that we not have the host also supply things like food and drink. The rest of us should dip in and potentially do potluck style, either that or it's BYO. Whatever everybody's preference is on.
Bring your own food.
Bring your own food and drink is easier to organize, but not necessarily as fun. Potluck is more fun.
Potluck night.
Right, and I'll organize that on Facebook.
So you'll bring the pie.
And if you're lucky, you get to eat from it.
And then you bring the luck.
Yeah, figure that one out.
So everybody's good with potluck style game night, Belgian Pledge Social on Monday, March 26th. at 6 o'clock.
Sounds good to me. All right, so
Put that
that's,
into your calendars.
Yeah. that's number one.
Small.
6 to 9? Because
Yeah,
it's in my-
6 to 9. The other thing that I've been doing was trying to get the information about all the candidates for office in the primaries of the state of Ohio, which we got addresses, so names and addresses, which is helpful, but also labor intensive to use. So I talked to the fellow again, and he says, yeah, they aren't required to give us name or address, phone numbers and email addresses. So usually they don't. He said, he thought about that for me. He says, usually later on, within a month or two, we have all that information. Let me see if I can figure out how to get that to you. So he's being super cooperative.
That's excellent.
But he says, but you had a deadline in the voicemail you left me. And I said, no, I just need to know what's going on by the time next week comes around. He says, okay, because I don't think I can make that deadline. I said, you're being extremely helpful. So worst case scenario, I'll be honest with you, I haven't even opened the documents yet, sitting on my desktop at home, is that I think you were talking a minute ago about Facebook. It would be relatively easy, surely they all have Facebook pages for their campaigns, to go and use the Facebook page for the campaign as a contact point and put together, it would be labor intensive, but it's a lot easier than writing letters to everybody. So that would be something. And then, of course, if we have representatives in their districts, then they should be doing the contacting because they're going to have a bigger voice in that candidate's mind than me here contacting somebody in Urbana, for instance.
It'll be sufficient. They won't necessarily know where you're from.
But they can say so. Oh, you mean me? Yes.
Yes.
No, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
But I think if you have somebody that's local that can actually show up at the office, that's probably even best.
So you're saying have someone local or Linda or someone make a contact on their Facebook page?
I think that's a good starting point, so that they at least know who she is and what she's asking for. If it's local here, I'll show up. If I'm a constituent, I'll show up at their office. That's worth my time because that's the most positive possible contact we can make. And hand them the document and say, this is what I want you to do. So that to me is the optimal situation, but I doubt we have representatives in all 88 counties in the state of Ohio, much less traveling around the county to get all those possible people that are running for every little office.
What we find, just to briefly
Sure.
mention, what we find works is that there's going to be a certain level of lowest hanging fruit for candidates where once they hear about the pro-trip pledge, they're like, oh, I'll definitely do it. So there it doesn't matter who tells you, whether you're their constituent or not. It only matters if you're their constituent, if they're like a little bit reluctant about the pro-trip pledge, and they're like, oh, it's a constituent, well, that's constituent, I'll think about it. If they don't, but if they immediately see the benefit to them of taking the pro-trip pledge, at least, this aligns very well with my values, and quite fine for whoever from wherever.
Right. So I think that if we hear back from them with email addresses and phone numbers, obviously that's the fastest way to do it. Because it's cut and paste with emails. It's cut and paste with Facebook, but we have to look them up. That should be a relatively easy thing to do. And then I didn't even notice did you see how many people were on the list?
It was only state level officials.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Well, then that should be relatively quick. Okay. Don't they have to do the municipal too? Do I need to ask about that separately?
Yeah,
I wonder.
check
I'll
about
ask
that.
about that separately. Yeah.
So this is Secretary of State.
Secretary of State and federal level candidates, all the state level candidates, lieutenant governor, whatever, attorney general, whatever.
Yeah, because I asked him for every primary candidate in the state of Ohio, very specific. So maybe.
Excuse me, I thought that you were going for counties too, like.
Well, I'm not calling the county. The county people have to register with the state.
Gotcha.
So that should be available information. So I'm going to get back to him. I should have looked, and I apologize. But that's something I can get back to him. If he has it, it should be relatively quick because the turnaround the first time was like 2 days. Once the date had passed. So, that's the next thing. And then the last thing is, I think I'm gonna close my attempt to get a hold of the campaign manager I was trying to get a hold of, because I've made 4 attempts now and he's ignoring me, so. Yeah, I was thinking about it, we do have some people locally that were candidates, maybe we should try other candidates and see if we can get a hold of their candidate.
Yeah, what about the candidate for whom you were canvassing? Should win.
Yes,
What about talking to the candidate herself?
that's not a bad idea.
So, because, I'm sure the candidate would know as well as the campaign manager. And
Sure.
You had the
And she
first one.
seems to be cooperative, she's definitely interactive on Facebook.
Has there been any approaching of the, Republican and Democratic parties at the state level?
Yes, we emailed all the ones whose addresses were available. We emailed the party chairman,
That's what I was like,
women,
we have a party.
chairman, women at the council level. Just
That's where I was going,
of each
you
county.
did that at the town level.
Yes, so none of them, well, only one responded. So I had a phone call with that person and thinking about.
Yeah, we need to get the political operatives, the folks that are behind the candidates. That's an interesting question to see how they think.
Well, so in line with that, what about the like running gubernatorial candidates themselves? Is there any effort to approach?
They should be on my list.
Okay.
Yeah, they should get this.
That's, because I'm with you, you can find someone high enough up the leverage so that you can go into the county saying, well, look, you're part of these gubernatorial candidates in the primary, they've agreed, so.
Yes, the most public people are the candidates themselves. So it's easier to get to them publicly. So it's harder to get to the operatives like the county chief people and so on, because they're not as public about who they are. But so it's just harder to try to find the information.
Because they don't want to box the candidate in to do something.
Well, they don't make their own information public. The candidate has a strong incentive to make their information public, whereas the party chairman of, Franklin County, Republican Party or Democratic Party doesn't have as much incentive.
So you're saying you're hard to find. I think you're also probably correct in the sense that the one interaction I did have with the campaign manager at that same Reynoldsburg meeting was she was very skeptical. And although there was another campaign manager that was all for it, but the candidate was very skeptical. So it's a mixed bag.
Okay, you can continue on that road.
Thank you.
Well, I didn't do very much. I passed out some business cards.
That's awesome.
And like Linda said, that we've been discussing starting a group in our area. And I already told her I would help her, so. be part of it.
And you wrote letters too.
And I wrote a letter
And well,
Yeah.
still,
today.
if I was doing
Oh, no.
writing, it looked
They
like
get close to now,
chicken on
right?
crack. So,
We all have different talents.
right.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, maybe looking at my logo.
We all have different
But
talents.
also like looking at
Not my talent.
But see, no, actually, that's illegible. We're not looking for beautiful handwriting, and that's, I can easily read that.
Maybe I'll take a shot.
So if you would like to join a letter writing, you're gonna find another one, so it can be legible. We were in an attorney office, and she said, "Not here," and she's like, "Is this legible?" I'm like, "She's great, I can read it, come in, we'll give you some pretty paper." Knocks them out right to the Apple VPs and stuff.
Okay,
Okay, so we're moving on.
moving on to the next point, which is creating strategic plan for activities to prepare for run-up to the primary elections. So, what do we want to accomplish in the plan before the primaries, which I think in Ohio are May 8th? The primary elections.
It's coming up fast.
It's not one of the earlier though, because Texas already had them.
Texas was March 6th. It is. So we have about months before the primary.
Is that the senatorial and
It's everything.
everything? Oh,
Texas
Some states have very
Texas also has a runoff. So Texas is a two-stage primary where they have first stage and then the runoff primary, which will be, I think, but Texas is the earliest primary state.
Well, I mean, touching on what I was talking about, I'd like to try to get at least some information about appropriate pledge in front of all the candidates that we have contacted. So through whatever mechanism we can find.
Okay, good. And so your step on that is to focus on doing research.
Well, first step is to find all the people.
Yes.
For the people we found, you know, we can start working on that, and I'm not opposed to being involved in that process of looking them up. I mean, I can go look them up on Facebook.
Maybe a website.
Oh,
Or their websites, yeah.
yeah, or their
Maybe somebody's
websites.
our contact form.
Probably.
So,
I'll do the Facebook.
Yeah.
Peer pressure.
Nice.
yes, so Facebook, you can post on the page, you can also send them a message. Either of those. So one thing that could be helpful is for everybody to look up their constituents of all the
The
people for whom
representatives.
they're representatives. So, you know, so here we are constituents of Ohio 12, well, the congressional district and for some senatorial races, and local races in Columbus, and a number of races here locally, and so on. So kind of looking up all the candidates, because that is the best, as definition, the best way of reaching people is to see who are, if you are their constituent. Is that something that everybody would be comfortable with? I don't want to force you to do that. But
So we're looking like, who am I constituent of and who else is running? Or
Yes.
who else is running
Yes.
for that seat?
Yeah, there's a easy way of looking for who your constituent on the Pro-Truth Pledge website.
Yes, proxypledge.org/
I'll actually show you this.
No, but, doing stuff, it's gonna be recording you.
I know you can be recording me. So what I'll do is I'll do screen share. And now it's going to get all weird because it's screen sharing. So what you would do is go to truthpledge.org, and then you go to pledge takers.
Oh, you need to speak really loud.
Sure.
So
You
I'm
go to
gonna
pledge
say what
takers.
Lev is saying to the microphone. Go to proxypledge.org, and you go in the menu, you click on pledge takers, and then at the top there's a bar where you can put in your United States address. I don't work in the US.
So I'm putting in our address here.
Just put in the address of PTP headquarters, and then you come up. This is a new feature on our website with all the representatives. And so first is Donald J. Trump, because that's the president, he represents me. And the number is 3847. So that's how many constituents of Donald Trump. 3847. Hi, come in, Hannah.
Hi. How are you? Hello, everyone.
Hi,
Hi.
welcome, Hannah.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I actually can't stay. I'm sorry. I brought you these. My wife is expecting dinner in 20 minutes.
Hi.
Hi. I'm sorry. Nice to meet you all. Glad that you're doing the
This is
good work.
Hannah.
I'll be here longer term and in other days, but.
We have Hannah station. You go in your right letters.
Perfect.
But you can only have it if you come to the letters.
No, I think it's important you do handwritten. I think it makes a difference.
We were just debating the handwritten because it takes at least 45 minutes to handwrite each letter, and our wrists are all sore.
I see.
But they are
it's
beautiful.
important.
Yeah.
It's okay.
That was
Thanks
the
for
work
stopping
you're doing,
by.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you
appreciate
write
it.
some letters?
No, but I will.
Okay.
My hand still works.
Bye, guys.
Anyway, can I ask you to go back,
Yeah. You go to the website, and on
Yes.
top it says pledge takers.
So I'll go to it again. So, right, so you hit pledge takers here. It's the top, it's in the bar, it's the top right, in the
Even if
bar.
it moves around, it just says pledge takers. So when you put in your address, it says all the elected and appointed officials that represent you, and the number of their constituents that took it. So for example, for your president, vice president shows 3,847. That's how many people in the United States took the pledge. So in your state, for example, there's John Kasich, he's the governor of our state, Ohio, 812. So 812 is constituents, so that's how many people in Ohio. And then you keep going down, and you have your representative, your state senator,
Senators, lieutenant governor.
your
This is a pretty cool.
Bentley Davis.
I was gonna say, did that do this?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's, a few of them are not like, there's some glitches, but like 95% of
Yeah,
them.
Yes,
oh,
they-
that's
they
all right.
use-
Hell,
yeah.
better than nothing.
They use, he used the Google
Google has this information. So
information.
it automatically like pulls. And so we already had people from UK asking to do this.
Yep.
This is not as cool as what I'm about to say, because if you click on the blue button that says tweet, it will automatically create a tweet saying, I took the pro-truth pledge and I want my representative XYZ to take it too.
So let me click on this.
Go and just click on
So-
every blue button and
yes.
tweet like 30 people in 2 minutes.
So let's go.
It's so satisfying.
Let's go to. It is.
I
Let-
totally downloaded that.
Yes, let's go to Kasich. We tweet him, and it says,
Oh, see now from my name. This is immediately. Okay.
yes, I took the pro-truth pledge. This is Agnes. She signed in. I took the pro-truth pledge at pro-truth-pledge.org because I value truth and facts, and I asked my representative, John Kasich, to join me in taking the pro-truth pledge. So if
you
he will
don't
be
have to
tagged,
read anything.
right? He will be tagged on that tweet.
So I just tweeted.
Mhm.
And you can.
So this gives you all the people for whom your representatives: Ohio State House District 24, that's one. Ohio State Senate District 16. Sheriff, coroner, auditor, clerk of courts,
Like,
reporter,
all the way down.
county engineer for some reason.
And look how long the list
Yeah,
is.
county commissioner.
That's, I'm blown away.
Yes, police court judge.
And
Trying to do that
When you
without that
see
program.
the little W,
Mhm.
that's their website.
Yes,
So you can click on their website.
state
You can tweet
auditor,
them
and so
their
on.
Facebook if it's
You know, so
available.
here's in Columbus, we have over 300 people who took the pro-truth pledge.
Mayor
Thanks to
and-
everyone's efforts here to get them to do so. And you could tweet to Mayor Ginter and say, Andrew Ginter at Andrew Ginter, which is his tweet. Take the pro-truth pledge. And so on. So this allows you to go.
301 of your constituents took it.
So this allows you to quickly figure out specifically the people for whom you're constituent, and then okay, so city council, you can tweet them, then you can look for who's running for their seat and so on. I don't think there is a city council race this time around, but there is a race for a number of these other seats.
I'm sorry, so when you go, let's say the mayor was running
Yes.
for re-election, you're saying his opponent would show up?
No, his opponent
No,
wouldn't, because
this is
this is
people
only
for
for
office.
incumbents.
Oh, under the.
So you'll know, but you will know who your elected representatives are, and then you can look for, race for mayor of Columbus, and then look at all the people who are
That's it.
on that race.
So like for Linda and Robin, they might get some street cred back home by doing this ahead of time. You just say, we've already worked on contacting, blah, 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 because I'm sure you'll be challenged as to what have you done so far?
Or starting younger. Yeah, that feature is like amazing.
Wow. Now I gotta use Twitter. I have an account.
So we have several people who made accounts just for this,
Yeah, it was so easy to tweet on there.
and it's so fun.
Well, yeah, duh.
It's just like it cannot be any easier.
On your phone while you're waiting for your dentist.
I mean, you can spend a
You
day
can-
trying to do that, then you get lost in the
Yeah.
process, and then it's like, oh crap.
So you can take 1 hour to write a beautiful handwritten letter. If you have an hour, if you have 3 minutes, you can tweet everybody. You can do whatever you want. There are many ways to get around it, but.
I wonder how many tweets it would take to block.
Well, the thing is, if you have a number of constituents who are doing
I'm
this,
talking about one person repeatedly.
it's okay. That person's
I was
already touching
thinking,
the.
even if they don't take the pledge immediately, at least you're getting PTP out.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
And whoever reads their emails or their Twitter feed, they're gonna see it too. So,
And it's public, so other
Yeah.
people who are following, let's say, Ginter, would see that somebody's tweeting to me on Ginter about this pro-truth pledge. They're like, oh, this is pro-truth pledge.
Anybody running for office above a certain level, if they don't have a social media manager, I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
I mean, at some level and below, maybe on dog catcher, things like that. But at some level enough, they'd be crazy not to.
Some levels that you can tell they're doing their own tweets, it's shocking too.
Nice.
Sounds scandalizing.
What?
Okay.
Yeah, it's time for me to get an assistant to do my own tweets. I just gets out of hand. My one tweet every other week. Is that my budget?
me too.
So that's something that everyone here can use to figure out who their elected representatives are, and look up their ones who are challenging them for any races that are going on. and contact their contact in a variety of ways. So that's, I think, something that would be valuable.
What's your tweet comprise? What does it say? I've taken a first.
I've taken a full pledge to support facts and truth. How about you join me? Take the approach of
And you can type something else if you want.
Yeah, but
like, so to say, but you don't have to.
like it's
They're
standardized
also
language, that's fine.
So for clarity, that's existing, office
Incomes, right? So that's a way that you can learn who exactly are your representatives, and then you can look for if there's a race to replace them.
I think it'd be probably fairly easy to Google who's running against this person.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's what you were saying, right?
Exactly.
Once you get the person.
yeah, once you know, I mean, who knows that you have like, these plea court judges or coroners or whatever for your, how do you figure that out? That's an easy way to do it.
Yeah, and the thing is that although occasionally some of these people, especially in Ohio.
Which is
So,
fine,
yeah,
because
but we wouldn't-
if you contact them and say, hey, how about you take it,
And they're like, oh,
great.
yeah.
Yes.
So maybe the most sensible thing to do is for all of us, and probably put a call out on the Facebook page and whatever contact methods you have, newsletter, et cetera, to have all the people who've taken the Pro Truth Pledge to do exactly that. We need to do a public call out for everybody to do that.
Okay.
And
That makes
then
sense.
we can do something a little more formal from the organization as a whole to the list that I'm trying to get.
Yeah, you can do organize volunteers to ensure that that's done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to wait to get started on the list. The list that we have, we might as well, worst case scenario, we get no new information.
Mhm.
So, and it sounded like it was iffy if we were going to get more information. So you said volunteers, we should move forward on that.
We should move forward on what you suggested before and getting volunteers to do the contact their own.
For their own use. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So in the
So we
long
should-
run, what are we going to do with the list?
We would want to make sure to get as complete a list as possible. Once you have emails at least, then you can pass it to me and I can coordinate some people in reaching out to them, including you and others who are interested in doing that. So I want to make sure.
So we don't plan on doing anything with just addresses?
No. Yes, so not just addresses. We want to, it really helps to have emails because then if you have an email, you can email them. So, you have Facebook message them, and then you can follow by phone later. So phones follow by phone and say, oh, hey, send this email about the culture question. Did you get it? Oh, I didn't get it. It's the culture question. Oh, I got it.
Do you have that process formally written down?
No. So we've gone to
That's probably good.
we have
So that we have a instruction.
yes.
Don't make us in
Well,
that.
Yeah, well, that will be done.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah,
sure.
That.
Yeah.
Well, I can invent it myself.
But you notice the shortage of instruction kits in this organization.
My point is, I can come up with my own process, and we can all reinvent that, but if you have a process, that's better.
Sure.
We're all about
I'll-
instruction.
yeah.
People are like, that's too long.
No, I'm
That's
fine.
always.
Everybody complains about the instruction kits I used to create.
Yeah.
No, we'll definitely do instruction kit. The first instruction kit will be for the process that I described over here to use the address for the Google API, Civic API through the social page. Okay, so those are two steps. Those are two things. Other things that are going to be important is getting as many signatures as possible before the primaries, because that will be something that will encourage people to take the social pledge. So, what are some ways that we can do that? So one of the things I'm doing is I'm going to be doing a presentation on tomorrow, actually. So I just need to set up a printer because ours got posted.
Printer died. Does anybody want a printer that only prints colors and no black right now?
So yeah, I'm going to be presenting to the main Kiwanis group in Columbus. The Kiwanis group in Columbus. So that's going to be good. So get some people. I am carrying some presentations on that. One of the things we have is we have done some research on local progressive groups, and it would be good for somebody or several someones to go and contact them and see if they want a presentation of the social approach. So,
Local progressive groups, you said?
yes, we
You have a
are.
list of those?
Yes, we've done a list of those.
When you say go in contact,
Contact them by phone, by email, and say, would you like a presentation about the culture?
Why don't you send me that link?
yeah, you want to split it?
That sounds good.
And when you
So
say
you
local,
point
it's
Me in
Columbus.
the right
Yes,
direction.
Central.
I'll get the whole list and I'll take the even number, you take
Whatever.
one, something like that.
Send me some. Actually, what we should probably do is find out if we know anybody in the church. And then do that.
Okay, why don't we do that? If you'll send a list of both.
We can do a little research.
Right,
I'll set a time.
that sounds pretty cool.
I have kind of like also, something to think about. There are different kinds of events that we go to and we can go to gather signatures that are different. And is it worthwhile to discuss which ones we should focus to for the most impact of getting signatures? And I know that I don't know, probably not all signatures are alike. If you go to like Kiwanis or Columbus Rotary and you get signatures, that's awesome because then you contact to the next, 10 Kiwanis in the coming month. That's different. Or if you go to a big festival, then, a couple of people go to the festival. For example, the March for Our Lives, that will be on March 24th. So if a few people go with binders and prepare like a script because, of what to talk about, of how to pitch to that event, it's going to be a huge turnout. So number.
I think from my perspective,
Yeah.
timing is more important. I'll go anywhere that I can go. The tricky part is, when is this?
Yeah, when it's available.
And so
Yeah.
far, the last couple I haven't been able to make.
Right. And for example, just today I got a announcement that yes, we'll be doing a candidate forum. There was a candidate forum on Monday that I don't think we had anyone who was able to go to. And Indivisible for District 12 was having candidates for at the very seat. So that was on Monday, March 12th, 6 to 8 p.m. will be another candidates forum. For congressional, Yes We Can will be sponsoring it. They will have contenders for governor, congressional districts 12 and 15, and Ohio legislature.
That's yours, right?
Steve Stiver.
That's
Yes, cyber. In Franklinton, Stormwater, Food and Spirits, March 12th from 6 to 8.
I think this sounds like a good location.
Good location.
I'm like, that's your location, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, put out dates and I'll.
Yeah, so I wonder if it would be good for when there are things like this to create an event in the Ohio PTP group and say signature gathering at this event.
You think so?
I mean, we can because if I share this event,
That's true.
like, hey, who wants to go? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But if I say there's a new event, gather signatures at this event, click here, but click if you're going to gather signatures.
Would everybody be comfortable with that? We're kind of the core of the group. So we'll have a number of notifications coming.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a lot of invites to
Yes.
events.
So what's this?
I already get like notifications for the post swap 2-3 times a day.
You probably signed up for the group.
Yeah,
Yeah, so there's some people for
I
it.
just did that.
I think that's a good idea to
Yeah,
create an
that's a good
event.
idea.
Okay.
That it's very easy to go through my feed in Facebook and see events.
Yep.
Yes.
And,
Okay.
And then,
And you put the address in there, it makes it easy for me. I've been here how many times? I still have to look at Google every time I come.
yeah, with the information
Okay.
of where it's held and what time. It's really easy.
That's
to
actually
just scroll
probably
through
the
and see.
easiest way to organize.
Yeah.
So if you want me to be, or somebody else?
Don't volunteer.
Shoot!
Just
Please.
look first. Well, who has the list of events?
It's not like a list of events, it's like, oh, I saw an event, this can work.
How about
we
people,
can all put them in there.
how about people forward me the events, I'll be putting them in there. Because
You
people-
volunteered yourself.
I do.
You already
people-
doing about 892 things.
I know, but people are most comfortable with me because a lot of people know how PTP group know me. So that's kind of like,
They're definitely two things.
So as we come across events,
Yep.
send the information to you, and then you will put it on Facebook or
Yes.
decide if it's worth.
sorry if it's worth volunteering.
Mhm.
Yes. So good, so it sounds like one is
I'm
the,
forwarding you this one.
one is Slacktivism, and contacting people by Twitter and so on, virtual activism, also known as Slacktivism.
What was the event you were describing?
We did the candidates forum, hosted by Yes We Can Columbus.
Okay.
Are you familiar with them? It's a progressive group that are kind of setting themselves up as a progressive alternative to the Democratic Party, and they're backing Democratic candidates that are more left
I
of
have
the
heard of them,
Democrats.
yes.
They took the approach of pledge
The
as an
whole-
organization.
The whole organization and all their candidates took the approach to pledge.
So they're having a forum?
They are hosting candidates.
Sounds like
forums.
easy pickings.
Yeah. Yes. They're having a forum for candidates for governor, congressional district 12 and 15, and also it says state legislature, which is tough.
Thanks.
And
That
again,
sounds like a really good
excellent.
opportunity.
And Stivers is 15.
Yes, Cyrus is the
This is
current
my
15,
representative.
and there's
Yes.
going to be lots of progressive folks who, while
And
you're
there
at it, might
are
be.
also all of his opponents who are trying to take him out of the selection.
See, that's why you were asking about the primary, and I was wondering, can you find out
Yeah.
who Stivers' opponents are?
Well, that'll be an easy way of finding out.
So this is when?
March 12th, between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. I will invite you right now on Facebook. Well, I just sent it to
I
Glenn.
might be able to do
Excellent.
I might be, I'm not sure.
it. Should be, just do that.
That would be great.
6 to 1,
I invited you guys.
Now, I'm curious, this might be segueing again, it's not appropriate to talk about now, I'll just say so. When going to some event like this, since it's a public setting, is that a good time to challenge the candidates?
It's a great time to challenge the candidates.
We're not going
Agnes,
to challenge
do
them.
you want to tell about your story?
I mean, probably folks heard it. I mean, that's what I did. It was at a candidates forum for city council. And Yes We Can was there and their candidates were there. And I went and I sat through some of the most boring 2 hours of my life.
Oh, I did remember you saying that.
Yes,
I didn't hear that
wearing the PTP sweater and walking around with binder and hoping that after the whole end of this, they will have Q&A. And they had a panel for City Board of Education, and most of the challengers didn't even come up. Like, there were very few people who didn't take the PTP sitting there. Then they had a panel for City Council, then they had a panel for judges, which I didn't really care about. And then time was up, and no one didn't have a Q&A, but then they're like, okay, we'll have a small Q&A, like jumped second in line. I was so fast. And they only took one question after me. And
They saw you coming.
but my introduction was a little long. I'm like, well, I'm here on behalf of the Country Pledge, and we do this. The guy goes, you have a question? I'm like, yes, I have a question. Why didn't you, and you take? But most of the candidates also went. So all the candidates standing there, they were yes between candidates. And there was this one guy, Kieran Carthon, who didn't. And I know you might be watching this video, so thank you. You were really great. Thank you for taking the Country Pledge, Kieran. But he's the only person. And I said, all these people took the Country Pledge. Is there a reason that you didn't?
That's such a beautiful moment, isn't it?
And he's like, oh, I'll sign it right now.
That's exactly.
But
what
at that time, I knew that.
There's a video of Agnes.
There's a video because one of the Yes We Can people, I asked her, and she took a video of me.
Mhm.
And then it dropped all my papers. But anyway, he came over and he signed it right away. I'm not sure he knew exactly a lot about what he was signing, but I did give him like the flyer.
That's what I was talking about in terms of peer pressure.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's exactly. And he was
So that's a beautiful thing about
he was just all by
campaign.
himself. So that's like the psychology.
Mhm.
And like he had the thing he can read it later, but he already signed.
Here.
It was kind of, but I mean, it's a hard place to be. I'm like staring, but I'm like, I had the microphone, man. You give me the microphone.
And you had a video, and it was video. So like imagine, the candidates for
It would.
for District 15 and District 12, like the same thing. We have a number of we have 4 candidates for District 12 who signed the brochure pledge. So
You
it's
can
like,
have them by name as of that date.
Right.
Like, we can update you within one.
yeah, and
Very
it's like
simple.
why are the rest of you? Why have the rest of you here on the stage?
Here's my list.
Gubernatorial candidates, I have 12 candidates, I have 15 candidates.
I want you all to take the portrait pledge.
Yeah, why haven't
Why
you
would-
yet?
Are you opposed to the facts in any way?
So that's a great opportunity.
Are you
For the most
anti-truth?
Mhm.
We gotta play to the name. It's called
Really
portrait
just
pledge.
Candidate thing anyway.
Exactly.
So-
There you go.
Do it.
Okay,
Well, you do have to step out there. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. You gotta step out there and you have to challenge in a
Yeah.
respectful way.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, nothing will happen.
Yeah, and I think these events are good because they're being recorded, there are people who are hearing, so it's also kind of like at the Columbus Metropolitan Forum, when someone comes up and says, why aren't we hearing about global cooling, why is it all about global warming? Maybe whether or not that's how you want, but no matter what you say, 200 people in the room heard you, so you know, that's why Guy, like, do you have a question? Sorry, I do have a question. I'll hurry now.
You tried at that meeting, did they cut you off?
Oh,
Well, unfortunately, like I said, I had a red shirt on and I just held it up. Right, and
So
left
next-
said,
next-
all of it.
next time, do like Agnes, get into line right away.
Well, I was trying to get up there and, yeah, I would go faster.
So there you go,
it's
lessons
tricky.
learned. Okay, great. So I think this is good. I think we have clear plans for speaking. Doug and Gary, I'll be doing some speaking. So like I said, I'm speaking to the Kiwanis. I'm also speaking to another progressive group. It'll be good to get some conservative groups. We just haven't done research on them. But the Kiwanis should be a pretty conservative group. Then
I'm gonna contact Kirby, because,
Excellent.
he was active at the state level in Lions clubs, and he said, let me know, because I said I'd be willing to drive. I mean, it's 88 counties in Ohio, for rural counties, we're probably not getting, I said I would do some driving, he said,
that'd be excellent. That sounds great as next step.
and
And
next, do you guys have lines of Kiwanis where you are?
Yeah, I think we have Lions, do you know if we have that?
you should,
Kiwanis?
you should be able to research that.
Mhm.
You've got that
Yeah.
huge sign going into town on the south side, with all the different.
Yeah, I never paid attention.
I've seen it a bunch of times, but I couldn't tell you which one we're at.
That would be good as part of the conversation with Agnes about how to set up a local club,
Yeah.
local group, because one of the ways to set it up, I think the most effective way is to, if you have public speaking ability, and I know you as a former pastor do, I'm not sure whether about them, that's something.
I do actually.
Excellent. So going to local service clubs, local progressive clubs, local conservative clubs, all sorts of local clubs and giving speeches about corruption. There's always a desire for speakers about something interesting. That's kind of one of the ways that we got it to be where it is right now.
If you need any help, if you want someone outside, just because I know you might be, I'd be glad to come and talk to you. I don't know what the politics are where you are.
We are so out of it in that realm. Robin just told me today that she found the Champaign County Democrats have a meeting and we're going to go to that.
Yeah.
And I know that the Champaign County Republicans also do have a meeting.
Cool, very nice.
So we'll check those out and then just look for the organizations and groups that are local. And like I said too, we've got towns around us. It doesn't take long to get there. The counties around us.
And honestly,
So-
you probably in a rural area have it easier than somebody in Columbus would. Because the bigger the city, the more we are used to treating each other as not other people. In the smaller the area, it's very hard to ignore another human being talking to you. So that's something where I expect, particularly some of the people with your personalities, you're going to have no problem walking in and having some influence.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And the more signatures you get, the more people who want to help. Okay. I think we have good, clear next steps. I think more would be overwhelming. So I think we're good where we are. We'll prepare for the primaries. Thanks.
So we have how many meetings for the primaries? 2? First Sunday in April, first.
I mean, the
Sunday in
big
April.
one is going to be the first Sunday. In April. I think it's going to be a little late. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So, next point. Let's talk about meeting flow. How's the meeting flow? I know we started somewhat late. Is that, folks, is that something that you're comfortable with, making sure to come in a more timely manner next time? Right. Okay.
Coming in worse than that, it'll be up to us, right?
Yes.
No, we were all late.
Oh, we're
We were all late. The only people here on time were the people.
Oh,
And they even had the table set up and everything.
Well, last time we had like 12 people and we were running so fast with the table, like, we can't do this anymore. Like 20 minutes before, like, put the table so you don't have time to go to the bathroom. We were not prepared for anyone to come with 3 minutes early, so we're like, we're on. We were on it this time.
We were early, and that's why we said, let's go get something to
We were
drink.
killing time.
Yeah. And we actually killed it to the point we were late.
So,
So we all apologize. We'll try to do better next time.
sounds great. Thank you very much. Any other points about meeting?
The only concern I get is there are so many tentacles coming out from all of this that I actually get on the edge of confusion sometimes if I listen to everything.
There's a lot of information. I know I'm trying to slip it all in.
Correct.
It's all different.
Well, you're immersed in it. You're totally, it's like in Matrix, it's like you're spinal.
It is.
Yeah.
So I try to
Is
make
that really
things easy.
necessary? That wasn't called for.
But that's where you guys are.
So, yeah, I mean, this is one of the reasons we try to make it very easy and clear for people, kind of instructions and guides.
But if I'm lost, I just raise my hand and say,
Yeah, please.
But also, I don't think it's important for everybody to like know what everything is.
Contact me, contact Agnes, post the Ohio Approach with Pledge group.
and you guys are responsive.
Well, for me too, I've never been a very political person. I don't have a lot of knowledge, so I'm learning a lot also, and I do want to get involved in some fashion, because I don't like the way, the politics are going in America anyway, in general. So, I've been wanting to find a way for me to be involved, even knowing as little as I know. So that's why I'm also just listening.
That's
You know, this is a huge learning.
Ours are baby
Yeah,
steps.
very baby
Here's
steps.
where you guys
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's one of the reasons we're having Hippie, is the Columbus group is the most established, and the other groups are getting more established. One of the things that people who are getting involved in Approach with Pledge activism appreciate is that this is a very nonpartisan activity, and that, there are so many, I just got a message from someone who was like, oh, I want to focus more on gun rights rather than Approach with Pledge. Gun control. And I'm like, I always think that these people are kind of like part of this group who are fighting each other. More gun rights, more gun control. And the Approach with Pledge is kind of coming here and saying, changing culture. Much easier to do it when you're pushing kind of from the side and you're pushing both groups than if you're just trying to make this group stronger, make this group strong. So I appreciate people who are relatively new to politics kind of coming in and having this nonpartisan, true party activity as a way of making their activism.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I went through the same thing. For about 3 or 4 years now, I wanted to be politically active. But regardless of whether I lean left or right, I knew if I went with a particular machine, I would just get sucked into the dynamics of that machine. And whether or not I could remain true to myself was a big concern I had. So, so for me, in fact, I meant to tell you, one of the reasons I'm late is I'm exhausted. I was in an all-day workshop yesterday in Cincinnati on advocacy groups, and when it was putting meetings together with volunteers and stuff like that. It was actually quite interesting. Anyway, I commented on the Approach with Pledge, and I got a pretty quick response from almost everybody that was constructive, because where this comes from is, let's say you've got a lower class neighborhood that doesn't feel they have a political voice. How do you pull people together without screaming at the mayor and stuff like that? How do you pull people together in a constructive way, saying, okay, this is where our playgrounds are, this is where our sewer system is, and stuff like that. We need to know what resources are available to work with. You never attack the mayor, you never attack the councilman. You just say, what resources are available for us? List them. And this is like such a different approach versus the shame finger.
Since you're saying that, there's another group that is offering free classes at our Urbana University that we're going to. They're called Nonviolent Communication.
Oh, that's
with Diane Diller. And I've taken her class before, and it's amazing because it does teach you how to communicate with people without doing that, without getting somebody
offended. Oh, God, you guys ought to connect with whomever those people are.
Pardon me?
You gotta connect with whomever is
Oh,
behind.
yeah, yeah.
So something we can talk about after.
Yes, anyway, I just wanted to share that.
Well, I think she works in the Dayton International Business School.
Okay, so the last point is sharing something recent about the cultural pledge in Ohio that makes you excited and acknowledging another member for something they did. I want to acknowledge Beth for working steadily on this candidates thing, even though you're going for a job transition. I know that's hard, so I appreciate you doing that. I think that's not an easy thing to do. And I want to acknowledge Linda for leading the effort to set up a new group in Urbana. I think that's brave and courageous. Robin, I understand. So I don't want to acknowledge too many people.
Yes, I want to take all the acknowledgements.
Yes, I want to acknowledge Linda specifically for the leadership that she's taking in the culture pledge and setting up. So thank you for doing that. Something that makes me excited. So I'm pretty pleased that we have, I think I saw over 300 people in Columbus with the cultural pledge and over 800 people in Ohio. So that's excellent. I mean, we have overall something like 5,700, so 800 here in Ohio. It's a huge representation, so I'm excited.
Is that the biggest cluster?
Yes, because.
Well, yeah, but that's a lot, there's a lot of people outside of Ohio, clearly.
And outside the United States,
Okay.
1,500.
Yeah, so 3,800 here in the US. So, yeah, that's cool. Something that I don't know about somebody else I think that you want acknowledgement for, and something that makes you excited, you know.
The letter writing. That's something critical that is just, and I'm appreciative of that, because that's very substantive. It's kind of hard to throw a handwritten letter away. You know, I assume that's what's behind it.
Yes.
And so those of you that are doing the handwritten
Did
letters,
you see those
God, do I appreciate
hand
it.
decorated stationery? If we don't have nice enough stationery, Linda decorates it by hand to make sure they don't throw it away.
Oh,
She's an artist, so in her free time she does the paper.
As funny, as tedious as that looks, she finds that much better than the writing.
I mean, I can see that.
Yeah.
We had someone like bring like whale stationery, like cartoon stationery. I'm like, great. I never thought I'd say this. Yes.
I
Thank
think at that level, it's like Melissa's working on the tweets, and she wasn't coming tonight because she was going to work on that. Just to me, I think it's pretty cool that at the very low level, there's these concrete activities that look insignificant individually. But that's the hard thing about movements, you get all those little individual steps add up versus the glorious stuff, like, you know, getting to talk with the mayor and stuff like that. Now, I think this grassroots efforts just take time. It takes a lot of work. And for that, I don't know if I'm excited. I'm just appreciative that it gets done.
I'm appreciative of all the work you guys do. One thing we didn't mention, I liked on Facebook that you're going to recognize people when you were asking for how you want to call, like, the people that were outside the public and the people who are behind the scenes. And that's really important, not only for recognizing people who do the work that so everybody can acknowledge that, but it helps new people like Robin and I know the other people that don't come to the meetings, but they're behind the scenes and they're doing things that are really, really important. So it'll help all of us feel more united because we'll know these people from recognizing their name and what their job is or what they volunteer to do. So I'm excited about that. I think that's really good. Acknowledge Robin. Thank you for saying that you will help me with this. I really appreciate that. That makes me feel like, you know, more motivated and everything. And I think that's about it.
Not too many acknowledgements, very hard. I am excited about to follow up on what Gleb was saying about more like leadership. I'm also excited about more direct communication. Like, for example, Linda, like, she came out to write letters, and now she's like, well, I don't know that I want to take an hour to write a letter. How about I print it? And somebody else would be like, I'm sick of writing letters, I'm not gonna write them, or I'm gonna write them and I'm gonna be like really annoyed about it. But she like directly said that.
Mhm.
And like, there's like a reason, like again, we want to handwrite letters, so like, I don't really enjoy saying that it's not something you wanted to hear, but I really appreciate the direct communication. And I think that's very important, and I think the more direct communication there is between volunteers, it really helps, because then more people are gonna say, no, I can't do something. And that's why I say, oh, if it's too annoying to write a letter, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to do it. But there's so many people like in this room, like all around the United States and other countries, who are just like, I'll do it, and then they don't say no, and we never know. So I think not only are we having more like infrastructure or volunteer leadership, but we are also having like more responsibility and accountability for people saying like, well, I said I'd do something, I need to do it or not do it, or like communicate in some way. And so that's really also important for an organization to work smoothly, for people to kind of like take responsibility, even though like we're not getting paid for the club and I'm not getting paid. So I think that really helps us take it to the next level.
May I say something to recognize you back? Because I felt, I know how excited you were for the handwriting. And I hate to cause conflict. So I had a little bit of, I hate to bring this up, but honesty is always the best policy
For relationships.
And so from just being with you guys, I know that you are open, and as long as that openness is there, the give and take, sharing back and forth, that fosters, some confidence. And hey, I can say I disagree with the way we're going this way. Let's talk about it and hear both sides. I appreciate that you have fostered that with the organization.
Wonderful, thank you. Yeah, we really worked that, and it's taking a long time, but we're like trying, Rob and I, like, how can we like get people to do that? So wonderful, I'm glad it's working. So that's very important. That helps the team be even stronger. And I want to acknowledge, Pierre for doing what they're doing. It seems like all the presentations. So that's very exciting. It's very nice that, because I was recently meeting with someone, I'm like, I can do a presentation. Oh, we have like a bunch of people who do presentations. Like, so that's very nice. It's very nice to feel like we have like backup, like. So it's really good to have like reliable presenters. So thank you.
I have to tell you something about my style versus web, so we can do that.
Yeah, later.
I got feedback. So.
Well, fine. Okay.
Well, I'm excited to see the organization continue to move forward. I've worked with a number of small organizations throughout my life, and most of them grow a little bit and then die out, and then grow a little bit and die out. It's like most of them don't really get off the ground. I'm not worried about this one not going deep. So it's the consistent, slow moving forward. I know slow isn't what Gleb wants and Agnes wants, but it is also the likely direction until something clicks somewhere. There could be a tipping point, but it's likely to be a nice, slow, steady progression for the organization. And if it is, hopefully that's enough to keep it afloat. And it pleases me that at least we're seeing that. Call it individuals. I think everybody's been called out so far. So, hey, Robin, you were called out. Yes, you got. Yeah. Okay. Everybody got a pat on the back. So I'll just skip that.
You reminded me of something. And my first thing that I was going to say, aside, I wanted to acknowledge that I like that you were putting this online, because Linda and I were talking about how we like to watch or listen to podcasts when we do other things, and I like that, and so I like being able to be both through videos and stuff, maybe, and listen to that while I'm painting and doing whatever I do. But you pointed out something that reminded me of you. When I first came to Urbana, and I wanted to get involved in some way, and there was a fledgling Peace Alliance group coming together in Urbana, and so I joined. Excuse me. But they didn't know what they were doing. They weren't doing anything but complaining about the wars and all the things that were wrong with society and the world. And I got very frustrated because they had advertised that they were going to be having some kind of classes, which never happened, and which is why I joined. And I finally got kind of upset with them. I'm like, you guys, we have to do something. We're an activist group. We gotta act. We gotta do something. You know, sitting here complaining doesn't do anything. And they were all like, what should we do? Looking at me to be the leader. And it was, that was.
That's what happens.
Well, needless to say, they have disbanded, and I feel bad about that because it was a promising potential kind of a group. But you know.
Yeah, my experience has put me, give me the attitude that I'm not going to join an organization and I'm not willing to at least part of it. Because that's the only time anything ever happens is if you are willing.
That's what I have told Linda. If you have a good idea, you better be prepared to lead it. Because that's what they will expect. And now I'm like on the board of our animal shelter. It's the same situation.
Oh,
I'm one of the board members, and it's like they are very passive, and you know the shelter flounders, and they just sit around and stuck in their ways. And if I come up with a great idea, it's like they all look at me like, okay, let's do it. You know, what should we do? And it's like, I don't know. I just thought it sounded like a good, you know. So yeah, if you got a good idea, you're leading it.
One of the things, so just on that, one of the things that we highly value in this organization is separating good ideas from being obligated to lead those ideas. So, you know, for example, we noticed how Duff is taking the lead in researching. And I didn't presume that he would take the lead on contacting these people as well. I said, you know, if you want to participate, great. If not, I will find other people. So there's a very clear differentiation in this group, in this organization, between coming up with ideas and being asked to lead those. So, I mean, if you want to lead those, that's great. If you don't, there's absolutely no obligation to do that. The idea may sit, not be implemented. I was like, okay, you know, once we find a person to lead it, the idea will happen. But you don't have to be the one doing it, and we appreciate the value of coming up with an idea, separate from.
Which is smart, because people who have been involved with organizations know better than to speak up unless they're willing to do it, unless that's an overt statement that the organization makes. So that, yeah, it's smart that you set it up that way. Otherwise, people don't want to waste their time.
That's exactly why I said it that way.
That's exactly right.
Well, yeah, sometimes you come up with ideas that you don't know how to implement, but it sounds like, you know, you've heard or seen this happen in other organizations, and it was very effective.
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't know anything about how that happens, how to do things.
You should be like punished for saying, oh, it's something worked for my friend, but
Yeah.
in a different city, like, you should do it like not. Hopefully.
Thanks. Well, I think this was a good note at which to end the meeting. So thank you all for coming, and this was another meeting of the Ohio Pro-True Pledge Committee Group monthly meeting for March 4th, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Adios.
Bye.